I really like this knife. Hey guys, Common Sense Outdoorsman, Lothar, Lothar Knife Company, Chinese company, contacted me and sent me this knife, wanted me to put it through its paces, and that's what I'm going to do. Now, this isn't, when I test these knives and do this for an instant in time, this is not a full review of this knife. I try to come back to my knives and keep using them and give updates and so on and so forth. But, it takes a while to get through a full review. But this is going to be my first use and opinion of this knife. So far, I really, really like it. This is D2 steel. It is 0.15 inch thick stock, and it's a full tang knife. Okay, G10 handles. The D2 is hardened to about 62. Okay, it's got a nice, thick, fairly strong tip. It's a full flat grind with a PVD coating. I'm not exactly sure what type of PVD coating it is, but do I need a coating on a D2 knife? Not necessarily, but it is nice. It is nice to be able to, kind of keep the reflection down if you like that. So full flat grind, having trouble saying flat, with a, relief edge for the final bevel there. It does have some lashing holes if you want to use those. A nice striking pommel. Nice hardware. I have not taken the handle off, but it does feel like that there is not a lot of lightening done on that full tang. The knife weighs 9.7 ounces. The G10 handle, very comfortable, good thickness. It's over 3/4 of an inch thick handle, which is good. I like a bigger handle. It does have that chevron type pattern on there, and I don't know if you can see that, but there is a good texture on that G10. Gives it a great, very nice, comfortable grip. In the reverse grip, very comfortable. Okay, if you had to use that pommel to strike with, it gives you plenty of room. You can do that. Just a nice feel and texture they put on this G10. Very happy with that handle. Not too small. I could go a little bit bigger. As you know, I like the big handles, but this one is not so small. So very comfortable. The tang is proud. It is, it does stick out of the G10 handles, but it is, you don't feel it. It's not uncomfortable. Everything on this knife is smooth. I don't believe, as is, it'll be a good ferro rod striker. Doesn't matter so much to me. You can bring an extra striker, or you can doctor this up so it'll strike a ferro rod just fine. The jimping is comfortable. It's okay. I can take or leave jimping, but it does have that jimping there. Works fine. It will not tear up your thumb. If you want jimping there, they did do that the correct way, in my opinion. Yeah, very comfortable knife. Looks like a very solid knife. And they advertise it on Amazon as a survival knife, and I would say, yeah, it's a survival knife. Survival / camp utility knife, what have you. Not really a tactical knife. It's because it's you know, I would like something lighter for a tactical knife, or especially a fighting knife if you're into that. Um, but very good. Nice finger guard there. You are not gonna get up on that blade. Uh, you could, if you've got small, you know, I don't have those big fat fingers, so I could put my finger there if I'm doing close-up work. Not recommended, not meant for that. Basically, that's more of a sharpening choil. Nice plunge lines. I mean, it was manufactured very, very well. I mean, there's really no flaws on this knife. D2 steel as a survival knife. I'm okay with it. It's probably never going to be my first choice. A lot of people, oh, D2 is too brittle, it'll break easy, it'll chip easy. If it has a really good heat treat and it's done right and it's heat treated to be a knife steel, D2 can be pretty good. You can get a little rough with it. Yeah, like I said, is it the toughest? No. Is it going to be my first choice for a survival knife? No. But it can be good. Heat treated properly, I think D2 can be a reliable steel. Now, I'm not going to go so crazy on this knife as to purposely try to break it. If I wanted to, I probably could, but I'm going to use it a little harder than I normally would just to test it and make sure it'll stand up to what I want to do with it. But yeah, very good G10. Nice, perfect, really a perfect grip. Excuse me. I like this knife a lot. Let's look at the sheath. A very nice, I'm not a sheath crazy kind of guy. Very nice. It is Kydex. It does have a Tech Lock-like belt attachment that works like a Tech Lock. It'll pop open. You can adjust these tabs on there for your belt size. You can take them off if you want. So it will attach to a good sized belt if you want. I would normally, I'm going to switch that around for kind of a scout carry type of and put it on my weak side. But the sheath is very nice. Is that a herringbone pattern? Which kind of looks nice with that chevron pattern on the handle. But yeah, very secure. A little bit of noise, a little bit of movement in there, not much. It's fairly tight. I like that the pressure on it is kind of perfect. I'm not complaining about that. I won't do anything to it, but if you wanted to easily, you can heat up the Kydex and you can manipulate it however you want. Not really a thumb push off there, but you can still use it as such, no problem. Knife goes in and out easy. Very nice. Very nice setup. There is a little drain hole, if you can see. Oh, it's on this side. You can see the drain hole there. And if there wasn't a drain hole, you can put one yourself. But yeah, you could put this on a molly rig if you wanted to. A lot of different ways you can carry this nice knife. Very nice. Very nice setup. I'll show you the box it came in real quick. Oh, my box is blown away. So it comes packaged in this cardboard box. Some nice information on the back if you can read that. And then inside that box is a nice cardboard box. Comes with a nice Lothar monogrammed cleaning cloth. It has some literature. Doesn't say much, but it does have some literature, and it's got a little foam backing in there. So nice presentation. If you're into that kind of thing, nice presentation. This is being sold on Amazon right now for $56. I haven't been monitoring that price. I think it seems like it's the normal Amazon price. I did notice this knife before Lothar contacted me, and I was interested in it. So, yeah, when they contacted me, I said, "Sure, yeah, I'll try this knife. Looks like a good one." So, yep, Lothar Survival Knife. The knife is just over 10 inches long. The blade is just over 5 inches long. Okay. So good size for a survival knife. Let's put it to work and see what it does. All right, guys, let's baton some wood. I've got some aspen and some spruce here. And again, this is whatever you think about batoning. I'm just putting some use on this knife. It has nothing to do with what I'm recommending you do with the knife or anything like that. I'm just trying to put as much use on this knife as possible. And splitting wood with the knife is a viable option in some situations. And I think it's a good test of how tough the knife is. And people like to see D2 steel do that. So let's see what this knife can do. And the aspen is not, you know, when it's dead standing and not petrified wood yet, it's not much of a challenge to baton, but it's certainly something. So no problems with that aspen. And this knife did come nice and sharp. It does have a fairly fat edge, as rightfully so for a, you know, D2 steel at 62 HRC. You want to keep a strong edge at it. You know, maybe certainly no less than 20 degrees each side for the cutting edge. Maybe 22, but I really, if you're going to get rough with it, don't go much below 20 degrees each side. Yeah, the knife is comfortable. I like the way it feels. Not too rough on the hand. Of course, I have my gloves on. Wear gloves, guys. Protect your hands. You don't want a nagging hand injury if you're out in the woods. Just take care of your hands. It's just smart. Yep. Fairly easy there. And when you're making a notch, if you have to, use a baton to help yourself out a little bit. Just pop that out. Certainly easy enough to work with this knife. Not a bushcrafter, but you can do some bushcraft tasks with it. Not a problem at all. Now I think if I wanted to, I could probably break this tip off. I don't want to, but you bring in a little closer. but you do want to be able to use your tip, especially if it is a survival knife, and you want to make sure that that tip is not going to break off. And it is below freezing right now. It's about 27 degrees, so that's another good test for D2. And this, you know, if I had to rely on this knife, this is really about as rough as I would get on the tip. I'm not going to chance it if I have to depend on my knife. Yeah. Okay. So, not too much of a problem there. You could use it for some chopping. It's not really a chopper. Just gonna take off these knots. This is still aspen. Let's shave on this round here. And this is a fairly dry, hardened piece of aspen. Little chopping at the bottom of this. And again, guys, this has nothing to do with, these are woodsman tasks or bushcrafting tasks. I'm just trying to put wear on this knife. Some people get upset on how you use a knife, but oh well. It's just testing. Yeah, so not bad, fairly tough. Let's take these knots off. And so I like, you know, how it has the kind of the hook towards the pommel. So if you do want to chop, you just put 3 fingers on it and let your pinky kind of cradle that hook, and it'll keep the knife there, give you a little bit more leverage for chopping. So that feels good, fairly comfortable with my glove on. All right, this is a harder piece of spruce. Take this bark off. Pretty long piece. That's about a 2-footer, maybe a little bit longer, and that's probably about 3.5 inches across, maybe. So we'll go ahead and split that. I'll back you up a little bit. You can see more. Lift you up a little bit. A little bit more. It's hard for me to see the screen because of the sun. So I wouldn't, if in real use of this knife, if that was my woods knife, I would not baton something like this, okay? But I think this is that's a good solid dry piece of spruce, so this will be a good test. So the blade is just over 5 inches, so yeah, it's probably close to a 4-inch piece of wood. See what it does. Oh yeah. Dang, yeah. That's a solid. All I got sticking out of there is the small piece of the tip. I would not, I would never do this in a real world situation. Wow, that's really smacked the handle a little bit. Now this knife is a flat grind, so it's not the best. It doesn't really split wood apart, as well as say like a thicker saber grind. But and with that, the proud tang there, it gives me, I can strike on that without hitting the handle. So that's kind of good. And I'm running out of tip here. Just have that little piece of tip. Running out of tip. Let me raise you up a little bit more. Running out of tip to beat on. Yeah, that's probably, I think I bit off a little bit much. And you can see, I don't know if you can tell, but that blade is bent in there, D2 steel. So I'm gonna see if I can, wow. All right, let me beat it back out. There it comes. It's stuck in there. Take you down so you can see what I'm doing. Whoop, whoop. Almost lost you. Jeez. There we go. Yeah, that's what happens when you bite off more than you should be chewing. But good test of the knife, and the blade is still straight. I'm not seeing anything. No chips, nothing wrong with the edge. And when you baton, you're putting pressure on the blade more so than you are. Once you cut through once you start splitting it, the pressure is really off the edge. But what that does, what I just did, is it just puts pressure on the entire blade and kind of will fatigue the metal. And if you do that enough, that's why when you're knife testing, if you've beaten the snot on your knife for a long time, you're fatiguing that metal, and maybe when you go to rely on it in a real situation, it breaks on you. So you don't want to go too crazy with it, okay? Just enough to test, and that knife held up well, fairly solid. So I'm gonna say, yeah, this big piece of spruce, a little bit too much to split with this knife, although I'm tempted to go tempted to go for the small end here and give it another try. I don't know, what do you think? Should I do it that? Let's do it. Let me back you up. Lift that up. Let's try the smaller end. What the heck? See what happens. Wow. Dang. Maybe not. I don't know, maybe I get you up. You can see the top here. On the handle, on the tip, on the handle. What the heck? Splitting up a little bit. Yeah, I'm not really getting that tip. It's just kind of bouncing off of it. Getting down there though. And again, the knife blade is all torqued in there. I think it'll do it though. Yeah, you do feel some shock, but that's because that is a hard piece of wood. I'm losing my tip. Starting to go though. Wow. Look how crazy that is. I don't know if you'll be able to see in there. Okay, if that isn't knife, that's more than even what I would usually do for a test. And that knife, I'm losing my tip. I'm just gonna see if I can get it out of there. I don't know. Let me see if I can. Yeah, I'm just abusing this knife now. This is just, let's see what happens. Jeez. Alright, come closer in. For all you guys who don't like knife abuse, sorry about that. Wow. So guys, D2 knife, perfectly straight. Still nice and straight. No tip damage. I don't know if you can see. Wants to focus on my righteous beard. Look at that edge. No edge damage. I'm gonna say still nice and sharp. Look at how gnarly that spruce was. Put some more abuse on this tip. Yep. Let's baton through this half because we can. Alright guys, that's the Lothar Survival Knife. Pretty good, I think. I like this knife. Takes a beating. I'm going to continue to use it. I'll bring you updates in the future. Thanks for watching, guys. Common Sense Outdoorsman.